Hello and welcome to Scarlet Serpent Readings. Thank you so much for joining me for today's pick a card reading. Of course, it's timeless, and we're going to be looking at your Starseed origins. So, yeah, pretty much what star systems do you come from? This reading is going to be structured in an interesting way, and I'll get into that as we get into your pile. But of course, the first thing I want to do is thank all of you who are subscribed, and for those of you just stopping by, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the reading. So I'm just going to jump right in to pile selection. So for pile 1, I just did a few doodles, so it's going to be pile 1, pile number 2, try again. There we go. Pile 2 might not want to be seen all the time, or at least not have too much attention on them, or on you, I should say, potentially. And then, of course, we have here pile 3. And see if I can put all of these together so you could see them side by side. These are enormous cards, so I'll try. Okay. Okay. So pile 1 is this first face, pile 2 is the second face, and pile 3 is the eye. If you need some more time, go ahead, pause the video, take your time, selecting intuitively as always, and the timestamps are going to be in the description box below, along with information for personal readings if you're interested in that. Otherwise, I'll see you at your pile. Hi, pile 1. If you chose this doodle here, this is going to be your reading. And I'll just zoom in on that. So the first thing I'm going to say is that I don't really know too much about different starseed systems and this and that. So this information is going to be, as always, channeled. So we'll just see what comes through. As far as the format for this reading, I chose, in this pile, we have 2 different astrological aspects, right? So I'll just show them to you, actually. We'll have the number 8. And we have the sun. I don't know if one of these sticks out more to you. We'll get into that. Okay. So for the number 8, one of your starseed origins, or at least your origin, is with Vega. I'm not going to bother showing it. Vega. Of course, I don't know that much about it, but with the number 8 being there, this is your strength. So probably, and I don't want to say primary because the sun can also be seen as a primary, but with the number 8, I think that's where your power comes from your connection with the Vegans. And I have a couple tarot cards describing, I guess, the Vegan energy within you. And we have the 4 of Cups and the Lovers. And so in terms of your starseed origin and its influence on your life, your strength is in your love for yourself, and especially with the 4 of Cups, which is an interesting interpretation in this deck, is that for me, this one is actually being at peace. Like, even in boredom, you'll find something within you. You have a good sense of like respect for yourself and love and nurturing for yourself. Maybe that's something that you haven't found with others, at least at some point in your life. And I think that's something that that star system has taught you, is that I mean, I guess it's kind of cliche to say that everything you need is within you, but I think you have a much different understanding of what that means from that star system. As we move on to the sun, so like when you see the number 8, that might be kind of a reminder of like your real strength is not just the love energy, but your acceptance of all sides to you. And I guess you could say that, look at there's a sun up there too, so I don't know if you could see that. Yeah, let's go ahead. I'll just clarify those 2 tarot cards. I'll go over the sun, and then we're going to see how your Starseed origins, how is it helping these personalities, these aspects that you have from other star systems, how is it helping you move towards your life purpose? So yeah, we have the 6 of Wands with the 4 of Cups, and then the Queen of Swords. You have an understanding of the power of the mind and how it can sometimes get in the way of manifesting what you want in this world, as far as like your experience on planet Earth. But I see with the 4 of Cups, yeah, this 4 of Cups is very different. You're at peace with yourself, or at least that's where you've came from, is being at peace with who you are. And as I said, the strength with the Leo here, I think it's Jupiter in Leo, but you're very proud. And I think if it's something that you've struggled with, I think that's part of your life purpose, actually, is learning to be fully confident in who you are, because you have something to offer the world. And I think balancing different aspects of you as well, that's a big one with the Queen of Swords being here. The Queen of Swords it actually reminds me of Venus in a way. And we have the 2 sides, Venus, Libra, so kind of balancing different aspects of yourself. So balance is very big for you. Even the number 8 can be like balanced 4 and 4. So very understand through your compassion for yourself and love for yourself, you can better love other people who you could see them as out of balance, and approach them in that way, that they're just out of balance. There's not really like true evil. There's just different places on the scale. So this is like it feels like a very intelligent group, I would say. Okay, so let's look at your sun. And for the sun card, I have Syrian as a starseed. So you might kind of be interested in your sun placement in your chart and see how the Syrian personality shines within you. And it's kind of interesting because I know many of you are well, definitely spiritual. This is a very advanced group, I think. Just in general, like those of you who kind of end up watching these are practitioners of some sort, so you would know, I think, how the sun would change depending on, of course, what house it's in, what other planets are near it, and the interactions, the aspects that it has. So that would be something you would look at within your chart to see how the Syrian personality could even be an obstacle depending on where you're at. But we do have the world kind of describing the Syrian energy, which here it feels a lot like expansion, and also taking care of the world, like taking care of your home. So I think there's 2. There's like Sirius A and Sirius B. So maybe something happened on that star system that kind of left a sort of imprint as to how you perceive, I mean, why it's so important to take care of the planet, because maybe something happened. But there's a lot of love within this pile. We also have Aquarius, Venus in Aquarius. So I had mentioned Venus a few times. So love is a big part of your celestial origins. In other words, choosing not to fight. Choosing not to fight always. I think maybe at least one of these star systems might have encountered a lot of conflict, and I think you might even find that exhausting. So for some of you, you might have like a square sun with another planet, and that's kind of, there's sort of that battle, and understanding when, I guess, there's transits that that you could work with, and there's sometimes transits that you really can't. And I think you've learned to work with, even if you're not following the transits, that you learn to work with what's, you know, a good day. Things are going for you, and things sometimes aren't going for you on other days, and recognizing the balance and loving yourself regardless of where you fall on that scale. I think that's part of the Syrian lesson, where it can be a little more difficult to just let people win from time to time, that you're more interested in the whole as opposed to, so there's that contrast, right, with Sirius and Vegan, where yeah, you value yourself, yeah, you love yourself fully, and you embrace all aspects of yourself, but you don't put yourself in front of the whole, you know, you see the big picture. And so there's like a double balance, a balance within both of these aspects. I'm just gonna grab two more cards here. We have the Ace of Cups. Yeah, so I'm telling you, there's a lot of Venus. I don't know, you probably have a very strong or like fiery Venus, or that's just been like an expansion of your heart is probably one of your main, I was gonna say, purposes. Let's take one for, I guess not. Okay. Introspection. I think this is Virgo. And again, we see that coming through, right? With I don't know if you could see it, but the sun illuminating. So that's what I'm showing here is pretty much how these personalities are being highlighted in this incarnation through Syrians. They're kind of being lighthearted in action, but wise in your thoughts. Okay, so let's see how is all of this kind of manifesting in your life on the planet. It's like how are these origins contributing towards your life purpose? Yeah, how are these contributing towards your life purpose? If you're interested in past life, you know, in one of these star systems, I do have another pick a card reading on that, so you could dive into what it was actually like living there, if you're interested in that. Okay, Ace of Wands. Oh, these are all falling. Death. So for some of you, it might be a little difficult in the material sense, because yeah. It's like from where you came from, love was the most important thing. Unfortunately, on this planet at this time, it's not. There's a lot of obstacles in terms of getting by, making a living. That's really the priority, and it's been difficult, I think, for many of you here. So you have passions, things that make you spark, but then they don't necessarily pay the bills, and you've had to balance that, or at least kind of find a way slowly to make those things manifest so that you could live an abundant life, because that's really what you're meant to do. Through your joy and freedom, you could affect others in a positive way. But if that's something you've struggled with, then you're really not in a position to spread that love, which is what you're meant to do. So we have the Ace of Wands. We have the Five of Pentacles, the Death card, and the Seven of Pentacles. I think the death card here is the death really of your perception of how to go about making money. Because again, especially with the vegan part of you, that the most important thing is the love of yourself above everything else. At least that's where you've come from before. So there's sort of this shifting where even there might have been a lack of balance at some point in your life, where you're trying to maybe the feminine aspect is a bit, it might even be overpowering the masculine aspect, so like taking the appropriate action hasn't always been there. Like you've had the ideas, so through balancing yourself out, and I think that's why balancing, especially with the vegan, I would be curious. I would look up, I don't know these Starseed systems, to be honest, but look it up. Like maybe balance is a big part of that in some way, but either way, it's your life purpose has a lot to do with being successful in a material sense, but it's almost like how to go about it where you're not compromising who you are, not compromising your heart, you're not like cheating your way towards, I don't know, this coin just stuck out to me for some reason. I don't know if you could see it, because it kind of looked like that number 8. It's kind of random, but with the 7 of Pentacles, I think this is Saturn in Taurus, but I don't remember. So it's a slow process. And I think another part of it is, especially with the Syrian aspect that you have and the Page of Wands, I think there's this part of you that is used to going really quickly, almost teleporting to, yeah, I think for many of you, you're not used to the slow grind of making things manifest. That could be something that's difficult, especially with the Syrian part of you, for some reason. Okay, so let's just clarify this. The Death card for me is about shifting your perspective on where you stand with the rest of humanity. In other words, yeah, it's complex when you think about it at an intellectual level, because it's like you're different but part of the whole, but you don't want the whole to overly influence you too much. That'll prevent you from shining because you have your own unique light to shine, but at the same time it's part of a giant light, but it's like in and out a lot of that, but through your own journey you also, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, so there's confirmation of what was I saying before, though? Shining your life, but you could shine brighter when you tap into the heart center. That's the vegan part of you. 3 of Wands clarifies the amount of patience that's required, and then there's temperance as well, and then we have the 2 different colors there, with the sun in Aries. So maybe that Aries could be Syrian if you have a sun in Aries in particular, but just a fiery. I think the Syrian part is the fiery part of you. And then we have temperance with the 5 of Pentacles, which is interesting. Temperance being gentle with yourself in the pursuit of making it in this world. Because, again, I feel as though there are many ways to make money and kind of, do something you really, really don't want to do. And that's been part of your journey is being true, like I said, being true to what really matters to you, being true to this Ace of Wands, this passion, and realizing that it's not easy to make this passion a reality. It takes time. So enjoying. That's why the vegan part of you is so important, because it allows you to, even in the process of becoming successful on this planet, it could, there's a lot of these boring moments, but you could find peace in them. You have the potential to find peace in them. And that's like a superpower that you get from your celestial origins, really. We have the Page of Cups underneath the Death card. You might have had several different hobbies. You might have had several different everything, really. Jobs, partners, where you're not afraid to change. There's a sense of Scorpio as well. Not being afraid of endings, not being afraid to let things go. And I think that's part of the Syrian aspect for some reason of you. You're friends with death in a lot of different ways. Because you like new things. Not just physically, not just at a material level, but you like new experiences. That's very important for you. Yeah, I'm not surprised. We have the Strength card. So, your strength comes from Vega. You literally have the number 8 as the Vega part, so that's the love for yourself that's been present throughout this entire reading. Love for all aspects of you. It's a big part of your life purpose. And through that's how you could make your mark on this world. All right, I'm just going to draw an oracle card before closing out the reading. I'll just leave that. I just picked up the deck, and then this card flipped out. The intellectuals. But if you look closely, there's a number 8. So 8 is really, it's really strong. First of all, this looks like that 8, but it's somewhere. There it is, next to the triangle. Oops, that's not a triangle, right here. The number 8. So that's a really powerful number. You could be a life path 8. Let's just get one more oracle card just to see how your starseed origins are impacting your life purpose. It's like your perception of reality shifts quite a bit, and it keeps things fresh, because I'm just seeing it from this. See all those eyes. Oh, there we go. It's interesting because I haven't seen this card before, but when I was mentioning that, like the shining your light part, where you're part of a whole, but you're an individual at the same time, this is kind of that imagery in a way that I was getting. Not the bugs, but like the lines that you get. Hopefully you could see and understand, right? Like each being leaves its own resonance. It's part of a collective, but there's still individuality within them. Maybe that's how like angels, extraterrestrials see the collective, see humanity as just filled with beauty and unique ways of collaborating with like-minded but also very different beings. It just creates this beautiful planet ultimately. So hopefully this is interesting. Hopefully you found this reading enjoyable, entertaining, helpful, providing clarity as to some of your origins. I might create a galactic playlist because there's a few different like cosmic readings that I've already done and I'm going to continue doing, but hopefully you enjoyed this reading. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Like, subscribe, share your thoughts, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care. Hi Pile 2, if you chose this image here, this is going to be your reading. Right, so let's get into it. I have an astrological aspect. I think I was just trying to see how many cards I would pull, and for this one we have one card. So the way that your starseed origins are manifesting would be dependent on your astrology chart, and it's going to be different for all of you. But the card that I pulled was Scorpio. So and you have two different starseed origins, which is interesting. So they're both in some way affected by some Scorpio placements. If you don't have a planet, could be a house, could be midheaven, ascendant, and so forth. And so that would be something you would notice in your chart. But that's pretty much how these origins are playing out in this incarnation. And the two starseeds that we have are the creators and Agarthans, which are the inner world beings. And I immediately, because I pulled this before choosing the starseeds, and I found it very interesting. If you look at this card, there's this being underneath. So straight away, I mean, that's really, it's really interesting because you probably have a very close connection with the inner world beings. And I'll just start with the card that popped out as well in tarot with Destiny, Weavers, Creators again. And it's interesting as well. I'm going to get into all of this, don't worry. But with the Seven of Swords being here, so I'll look at what that means as well. And then we have the Ace of Swords. I think part of, I'm going like straight into purpose, really. Part of your mission here has to do with changing the landscape of the world in a lot of different ways. Because you have a very unique perspective. From the creators, it's like a very high up sort of understanding of the universe. And then the Garthans are very much interested in just this planet. Definitely more advanced, I think. I don't know about these, star systems, but I'm just, receiving that information. But I think you're blending, kind of hinting at pile one, but blending the energies and wisdom from both, from the stars and from the root of the earth. And I think part of what's shifting is from the creator's aspect, changing the mindset of most of humanity, because this could have been something part of your scorpionic energy would be in moving away from self-deception and the deception of other people on this planet. And that might be a frustration that you've gotten, I think, from your connection. The frustration doesn't come from the creators. It comes from the Agarthans, if I'm saying that right? Look it up. It's spelled Agrthan. But that's also your spark for taking action. The spark comes from the frustration that you get. From humanity thinking they know what they're doing for the most part, and seeing just the way that they treat the planet. And you really have a very strong desire to bring forth change, of course, with Scorpio. But you also have, I'd say this pile would be more of the master manifestors. But you're extremely good at that. Even on a daily basis, the thing that limits you would be the mind, like just clutter, and you pick up on a lot of energy. I think that this pile is extremely sensitive to thought. Let's clarify. Okay. Yeah. We have the Seven of Wands. So this pile, more so than any other, would need to set some pretty strong boundaries. It is an extremely sensitive group, and I think your sensitivity comes from the creative aspect. Creators, And that's part of your power, is your extreme, and I'm like extreme sensitivity. It could be empathic, but I'm feeling more of mental sensitivity. So this would be like the telepathic group. There's usually one, I think, and that's, I get that from the Ace of Swords as well. And so as you continue to kind of balance being extremely grounded and clear-headed, that you'll be more easily able to create your reality, co-create your reality, because that is, of course, where you're from. Let's clarify this Ace of Wands from the Agarthans. But that's where the desire to change comes from, almost like a frustration. Magician. Yeah, this is very, very clear. Your abilities are very strong. This is pretty much a manifestation card, as far as I could tell. Very similar to the Destiny as well. Let's take a look at the Destiny card. So, yeah, it's like you create worlds in a lot of ways. We have the Queen of Wands underneath the Destiny card. So you could consider the Queen of Wands to be a bit of an alchemist as well. The Queen being water, and then Wands obviously being fire, really being the witch and balancing those energies of water and fire. So it's like, what are you manifesting? And I think that's why the Agarthan part of you is so important, because it's a very different perspective in how the thoughts impact the physical world, and how the physical shifts that are created from your experience affect the whole as well. So there's kind of like a weight of responsibility that you'll feel, or you might have already felt. There's a lot of orange too, so Scorpio, but it could be like a fiery planet in Scorpio if you have a Sun in Scorpio, Mars, Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio, Sagittarius, Scorpio. Yeah, those would probably be, and I would just see how those interact in your chart too. If you feel suppressed somehow, sometimes, by other people, as to what you should be, what the world is. I don't know if you like being told the world is like this, or the world is tough, or it's not fair. Any of those blanket statements don't really apply to you, because you know that you create your own reality. You have the ability to change it, and at a very profound sort of level. It's not to say like things don't happen. Of course they do, but you're someone who almost learns from the changes that happen on the day-to-day. So let's see, how are these origins contributing towards your life purpose? How are they playing out in your reality? Let's get a few cards for that. King of Swords. That's you. 100%. Swords energy with fire. Taking ownership of your thoughts. That's a big one. And asking, like, just, you could say your guides, ancestors, spirit, whatever you resonate with, angels, or even your fellow creators, for assistance, and being very clear in that. Not like demanding, but there's sort of this firm weight to it. That's the Magician. It's like, I need this so that I could do this to help the world, help the planet, because kind of similar to Pile 1, where it's like, your desire to create something is not only for you, but for the whole of planet Earth in a very grounded way. I think that's why you have the Agarthan energy within you, is that you're so connected. There's this point of your life where you're under the ground, and I think in terms of spiritual development, you get a lot. I mean, most people do, from grounding, because you actually connect with that part of yourself. We have the Eight of Swords, which was under the Seven of Swords. So this really feels like the swords of other people that try and tie you up. Of course, you have the ability to wiggle free. There's the water in the bottom, probably that Scorpio energy as well. And that's how you're able to navigate that. But we have a lot of swords here. And it's kind of apparent, just how powerful your mind is and how much of an enemy it can become if, how like empaths, they do the bubble, a circle, a ring of light, or that sort of thing. And I had mentioned this in a previous reading, but so I wouldn't be surprised if I had mentioned this. The crown, wearing a like visualizing what's it called? A violet flame crown, protecting your headspace, protecting your third eye, but mostly the crown chakra. Because like if you enter and do groceries and everyone's flooded with a bunch of thoughts, it's almost like mental pollution that you're clearing out, and clearing that out will help you navigate the world and step into your power. So you have the Five of Cups. And Four of Cups. Many of you feel like you don't belong. Excuse me. This card's like slipping everywhere. I think it's part of this isolation that you feel. And I would imagine that would be, again, I don't know about the Agarthans, but that's kind of how they feel as well, that they live on the planet. They're an intelligent race of beings that share the space with humanity and other, there's plenty of extraterrestrials in physical form here, but that they're not seen, that they're not really recognized or even appreciated. I think because you're so empathic as well, you pick up on that energy. So that might not even be you. I mean, it's part of you, of course, but if you feel disconnected, you might even be connecting with the Agarthans who are living here now. Yeah. We have the Nine of Wands with the King of Swords. I think, this Nine of Wands kind of feels a little different. Usually this card is, of someone who's exhausted with the Moon Sagittarius. I could see that exhaustion. I could see it with feeling like you have to constantly defend yourself and guard yourself, and almost, I mean, you might prefer being alone just because there's that clarity that comes in, because you value having a calm mind more so than most people. Having a calm mind. I haven't mentioned the heart at all in this reading. I think your heart opens up when your mind is clear and focused. That's when you get that spark, We have the Ten of Pentacles underneath the Eight of Swords. I think with the Ten of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords, like you're bound to other people in a way, to a family setting, a work setting. Where the idea of what it means to be successful is kind of limiting you in a way. It would be kind of like, let's say you have the ability to manifest anything, and you manifest money, as opposed to manifesting the life that you want. So it's kind of like you're taking the long way to get what you want. In other words, like, let's say I want to have a car, but I'm not gonna focus my mind. I'm not gonna be the magician to get the car. I'm gonna be the magician to get the money to then get the car. It's an extra step, and I think that's part of where this exhaustion comes from, and this lack of fulfillment here with the Five of Cups, which is it Scorpio? No, I don't know. No, I don't think so. Okay, we have the Hermit. Interesting, the Hermit came up earlier. And the Hermit was underneath the Five of Cups. So refocusing on what you find valuable. Refocusing on, what you want your experience to be. Because there's, again, a lot of influence as to what it should be. And I think I say that pretty often. But it shows up a lot, too, in the readings where, especially with the Starseed origins, the more connected you are to that, the more you realize that the things most people place value on in this world don't apply to the rest of the cosmos. Want to appear successful. King of Pentacles. That's not to say you can't be this. The King of Pentacles, providing for others. Oops, sorry about that. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. I think at some points you might not be able to recognize your ability to manifest as well, to create your reality, but it's just a different way of doing it. I think it's, how do I say, your life purpose involves taking a path that most people don't see. I'm seeing that a lot, actually, where the figures aren't, I don't know, it's like their sight is blinded because it's like Spirit is trying to get you to see and perceive your place in the world differently. And I think that's your main purpose, really, is to bring a different way of seeing and perceiving your place in the world, the place of humanity in the cosmos, and so forth. It's like this, a change in perception and a change in seeing how things can be as opposed to how they are, and then grounding that. Thinking of this song, I don't know if anyone listens to Black Sabbath. Leave a comment if you do. Man on the Silver Mountain by Dio in Black Sabbath. I think it's actually just Dio, it's not Black Sabbath. But that's kind of what I get at here. Look at the shifting, the changing up here. That's that Scorpio energy as well. But also a mountain, very grounded, very secure in the earth, but reaching for the stars. Another reference to a song by Dio. Children of the Sea. We made the mountain shake with laughter as we played. Okay. Let's get another oracle just to see how these origins are affecting your life now. can't make this stuff up, I don't think. Just look at that image. The mind is very powerful with this pile. Extremely powerful. But it can be, of course, a maze, and that's why it's so important to prioritize clarity of the mind and organization, and that's why the Hermit is in the center of this reading. Because you have the King of Swords, King of Pentacles, the Magician, Ace of Swords, and one of your, of course, Starseed origins is the creators, you know. So you have a very high potential to make some real change in multiple facets of your life, in different dimensions too, I would say. Just because you have such a different perspective. It's like you could see both simultaneously. It's like you're looking up from the ground and looking down from the sky at the same time. And so while there's going to be people who are just kind of seeing things in a two-dimensional way, that's kind of why you might find yourself feeling bound, because you have a wildly different way of perceiving the world, and it could be a bit of a struggle to kind of block out other people's and sometimes your own deception. So hopefully this reading was helpful. I know it was a little different, but I'm hoping that it resonated. Please comment, like, subscribe, share, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose this image, this is going to be your reading. Let me show this to you real quick. Okay, so I have a few different, well, I have 2 cards for the astrological aspects. So it's kind of, this will show how your starseed origins are playing out in your life, playing out in your personality, and it'll be different for each of you just depending on your placements and your charts. So I feel as though most of you watching will at least be familiar with your chart, or you could always look it up just to get a better understanding as to how these star systems are playing out for you. So the first one that I have is Grand Trine, which straight away is extremely powerful energy, and is about harmony, harmonizing, and creating flow within you. And the star system that is connected to this card in particular, connected to this part of your chart, is Andromeda. So a very advanced, and that makes sense, right? The amount of harmony that you have the potential to, that you have the potential to have within you. That harmony is part of a really deep understanding of all aspects of who you are, and working with them in a way that kind of highlights, the best qualities, and you could still, if they're not so good qualities, you work with them and you understand their place within you. In the same way, there could be like a difficult star system or a difficult person who still helps the greater whole in understanding, I guess, that polarity. And the tarot that describes the Andromedan aspect of you is the Knight of Swords and the Tower, which is really interesting. And I'll clarify these as well. With the Tower, I think sometimes things fall apart when it's not harmonious within you. So you'll notice that straight away, and you might have had quite a few tower moments, and that's part of the learning process of being on this planet, because It's because you're so advanced in a lot of ways, very forward thinking, very quick. Is that sometimes you're a little too quick, or you might have been? And this could depend, of course, on your placements. But maybe part of that grand shrine that can be out of balance is like an air sign or something like that. Or it could be in a house that's associated with air, which I do not know because I don't know the houses that well. But yeah, even with this tower, we have the eye. This figure. The top of the tower is an eye. If I look real close there. Right. I can connect that with the triangle too. If you get that image, I think it's in the US dollar with the eye and the triangle. It's almost it's a little different from, of course, the previous pile, or one of the other piles, I should say, where not to emphasize the mind too much because it's almost like a comfortable place for you, but like being humble in a lot of ways. Yeah, like focusing on other elements within yourself, like water, earth, and fire. Water, earth, and fire. Yeah, that would probably be your like part of your grand trine, is focusing on that. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if you didn't have that much air signs actually in your chart. Let's clarify this before we go to the other card that I have. The other Starseed system, we have the Queen of Cups with the Knight of Swords. That makes sense given the other sign that you have, but you're very connected to water. Pile is very connected to water and their emotions. I'm not picking that up. Oh, yes, I am. Because I'm going to need them in a sec. We have the devil with the tower. This is very interesting. The devil and the tower is kind of trying not to get you too comfortable with a certain way of being. And maybe that's something that you bring forth, is sort of that destruction to other people in a lot of ways. Because the Queen of Swords, or the Queen of Cups, and the Knight of Swords are moving in one direction. It's almost as if maybe part of this Starseed origin thought in a way that they were better than everyone else. In a lot of ways they are, but it's kind of like every other star system, every other galaxy has something important to contribute, and maybe at one point maybe it's just the beings around you kind of lost sight of that, and that's why this tower is here with the devil card as well. So when I say humbling, it's kind of, and we even see the triangle too. So I think part of this incarnation here has to do with recognizing other aspects of yourself that may not be as evolved. And this could be a lot of shadow work where you really part of where you're going to gain the most benefit in this lifetime would be connecting to your subconscious and the collective subconscious as well. So we have the next card is the Cancer. So you might be a Cancer, or this might just be kind of like a Cancer personality. And the starseed that we have associated with this card is the Founders. So I don't know if the Founders are very connected to your emotions, but I also get the sense that that's your main it's like that energy of the Founders is manifest through your way of feeling through the world. And we have the Page of Cups and the Fool. And with both of these, with the Founders and Andromeda, it's kind of like almost the universe made you start over as a child. Like you reached adulthood, you aged into an incredibly wise being, and then it's like being the fool again, where it's like an enlightened fool, where you start from scratch, but you have a lot of wisdom too. So it's really interesting with the Grand Trine. Now you have all the tools with Andromeda, the balance necessary, but it's more about having fun with the Founders here. I was gonna say re-understanding yourself. I'm pretty sure that's not how you should say that, but yeah, in a way, rediscovering who you are at a deep level, a very deep level, and allowing that to unfold in your experience in a very natural way. It's like you don't have to try and bring wisdom. That might be a part of the Andromeda and lineage that you have. Is like you want to bring wisdom to the rest of the cosmos, but at least it feels as though in this incarnation on Earth, it's easier. You don't have to exert a lot of effort into making that happen. In other words, the wisdom you spill onto the world will come through being more carefree and more playful. Because it's almost like we have the Knight of Sword, or Knight of Wands here, moving, yeah, and it's underneath the Fool. It's kind of funny because when you try and be almost too structured, it falls apart pretty often. Yeah. Okay. Let's get the Page of Cups. Just heard floating Founders. And then we have the Ten of Cups. Wow, a lot of Cups energy. So there's for this pile, there is some kind of heavy energy balanced by very lighthearted and fun energy, and you tend to move in and out of those things where life can get really heavy, break down. You kind of reinvent yourself in a lot of ways. You see yourself differently, you see the world differently, and then you play again. It's and I think Andromeda is very advanced. I don't know. I think the Founders are as well. So these are two very advanced, starseeds. So it's like playing comes naturally, but it's also extremely important in your evolution as a human being. Let's see how these starseed characteristics and traits are manifesting and helping you fulfill your life purpose. We have the Two of Pentacles. Okay, so there's that balance I was mentioning, right? Being lighthearted, carefree, following your emotions, kind of allowing yourself to float a bit, like I said. And then with the Grand Trine, there's sometimes like pretty heavy situations, heavy experiences, dense people, and looking straight, I was going to say, into the devil's eye, and recognizing the value in both of those experiences. Oh, there they go. All right. Three of Pentacles, the Devil again, the Star, and there's an extra card. the Fool. Okay, so we have a few repeating cards here. So the Devil showing up twice and the Fool showing up twice, and talk about those very different energies, right? And we have the Three of Pentacles as well. I think this Three of Pentacles is really working with your spirit guides a lot, because we have two coins up there, and then one in reality, one in grounding. We have the Devil energy coming through again. It's in the center of the reading. So coming to terms with that side of you is going to be very big. I think that's why the Grand Trine, it's interesting that a lot of the dense energy is from Andromeda, that part of you, because, you know, not a lot of beings can handle that kind of energy, like really dark, really this and that, or dense, or whatever you could call it. But you're wise enough to know that that's just, if you leave that description, that category of, you know, good, evil, this and that, that it's just a part of the universe, and it has its own wisdom and its own light. And that's what you're bringing down, that wisdom, and still having fun, because we have the Star and the Fool. So you're not losing sight of your own shine, even though you might be exposed to other people's darkness, or looking at the darkness of yourself. And we have the this eye here. It's like it goes in further and further. Okay, let's clarify these. Lots of major arcana, so you have very powerful energy and a powerful purpose in this life. You dance, with the Fool, not afraid to jump. Even it's really powerful, actually, with the Cancer and the Founder's energy, that even though you might encounter like the Devil energy in a lot of ways, like the darkest pits of whatever, you are so confident in your place in the universe that you'll jump anyway. That you're just like, well, it's there, I know it's there, but I have things that I want to accomplish, that I just want to experience, get a new angle. I'll be fine, because ultimately I am a part of the universe and I am safe in it. It just gets heavy sometimes, and that's part of the experience. And so this is, Ten of Wands with the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, that's when I say it can get heavy sometimes. That's part of the balance. But I also think I switched this. I'm just going to switch it back. That your life purpose has a lot to do with sharing that wisdom too, because there's other people who are experiencing that heaviness and they don't know, or they're not connected with the Founder's energy that you possess, the connection to water and ability to flow. And sometimes the ocean is calm, sometimes the ocean is dirty and nasty, and sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's got a lot of sea creatures. I saw a manta ray jump out of the water the other day. It freaked me out. Sometimes there's crabs and huge fish, sometimes there's nothing, and that could change not even like in a week. It's within hours at a time. The ocean water changes drastically, and you have an understanding of that within your experience, not only on this planet but in the universe, where it's just, that's just how it is. That's what makes it fun, actually. Okay, so we have the Judgment card underneath the Three of Pentacles. So 3 is a big number for you, because we had the Grand Trine. Well, I'll pull it out. And the Three of Pentacles. And I'm mentioning it because the Judgment card came with it. So this has to do with harmony, and I think you bring harmony to groups as well. So I think you work well with others. You probably have, or at least should be, maybe, working with others to create And I think that's part of your wisdom as well, is sometimes there are people who are just very difficult and try to manipulate things, and you know how to deal with it, or at least that's part of what you're learning, is how to deal with those people. And still balancing it out, still being the leader, especially with the Judgment card. Here with Archangel Gabriel, who is associated, I think, with water. At least that's my understanding. Yeah, because air is Raphael. Okay. So yeah, again, strong connection to water. Let's look at this devil energy. Yeah, I think a lot of this has to do with guiding other people and having fun. Like, don't be afraid to have this fun, be lighthearted, do wildly different things. There's again a very strong connection that you have to water and your emotional body, and that could be part of what you're teaching people. Don't forget to have fun. Let's look at this devil energy, and then the star and the fool. You know, the 5 of Swords. Knowing when to fight the devil and when to just walk away. 10 of Cups. Again, so there's multiple repeating cards here, with 10 of Cups coming twice, the Fool coming twice, the Devil coming twice. With the Star, it feels as though because of some of the heavier experiences that you have when you do encounter like-minded people, when you encounter a place where you feel at home emotionally, it just feels that much better, actually. Like, yeah, it feels that much better. I think that's why, because otherwise you'd get bored. It would be more of 4 of Cups energy if that's all you ever had, was just a gentle stream. It's like when the water doesn't move, with Page of Swords underneath the Fool, when the water doesn't move, it gets stale and you get like fungus in a pond. That's why they have fountains. And then we have the Ace of Cups, just as I said, fountains. We have a fountain there. So it's like, what can you bring? Your connection to the founders is all about water and bringing, it's kind of shifting the focus of the intellect towards the wisdom that comes with your emotions and the life that it brings. That's really the biggest thing, is that the emotions, your understanding of it, it's a life-bringing energy that you have, and I think that's part of your purpose as well. I'm saying a lot about purpose because I think it matters a lot to this pile in particular, especially with the founders. So let's get an oracle card just to close out the reading. How is the Andromedan energy and founders energy manifesting? We have this card. Talk about being really defensive, balancing, of course, both of these as well. There's a lot of swords here. Wow. So I'm going to clarify this with another oracle, actually. They're just polar opposites in terms of energy. Being very silly and then guarding yourself. And we'll notice how the eyes play a big role here. Completely covered, but the eyes are going through. The whole body's covered, but the eyes are going through. So it's interesting how the perspective shifts and the experience shifts. how you navigate dense and light energies is something that the world could learn from you, and that's a lot of what those two very powerful star galactic energies that you have within you are kind of harmonizing themselves within you. So hopefully this reading was helpful. It was definitely interesting, and let me know, like, subscribe, share, comment, please. Let me know, how this reading resonated with you. I'm very interested to hear. I love connecting with all of you. It's awesome. So yeah, I hope to see you in the next reading. Take care.